It's only day 2 of Trump's presidency, and already everyone is mad at him. I mean, guys, can you give him a minute? Let him sit down. It started in the morning when Trump went to the traditional post-inauguration church service, which is not exactly his preferred way to start the day. It's never fun for him to be a guest at someone else's rally. And to make matters worse, the preacher was kind of preachy.
Mr. President, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. Gay, lesbian, and transgender children, and the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals. They may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals.
New executive order. We are banning church. Hey, Bishop, please, all right? We don't go to church to hear a lecture about having mercy on the less fortunate. That's not what church is for. And Trump was like, I only came here because I heard there were free crackers, and now I'm getting roasted by Tig Notaro. And he was probably looking up at Jesus on the cross and thinking, hey, you and me both, brother. To be fair, I mean, can you imagine going to church and the pastor is only addressing you? Like, this next sermon is about the sinners, the cheaters, the degenerate gamblers. Gary. The point is, no one has ever had a worse time in church than Trump did. And yes, I've seen Spotlight. And you could tell that he had a bad time because of the way he came out of the church super bitchy.
Mr. President, what did you think of the sermon?
What did you think? Did you like it? Did you find it exciting?
Yeah, does that excite you? Did you like that? Watching your president get lectured to by Bishop Rachel Maddow? Get your little liberal card, you sick f***. And is this how we do presidential press conferences now? This is like TMZ at the departures hall at LAX. It's like, hey, Mr. President, what do you think about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni? But after getting yelled at by this church Karen, Trump was also getting yelled at by everyone just because he released hundreds of violent insurrectionists back into the streets or something. And yeah, okay, they beat some cops and broke some windows, but they were doing it for him. No one seems to understand that, and the media won't shut up with these unfair gotcha questions.
You would agree that it's never acceptable to assault a police officer,
Sure.
right? So then if I can, among those you pardoned, DJ Rodriguez, he drove a stun gun into the neck of a D.C. police officer who was abducted by the mob that day. He later confessed on video to the FBI and pleaded guilty for his crimes. Why does he deserve a pardon?
Well, I don't know. Was it a pardon? Because we're looking at commutes and we're looking at pardons. Okay, well, we'll take a look at everything.
We'll take a look at everything. Shouldn't you look at it before you issue the pardon? It's like, step 1, release the prisoners. Step 2, look into which prisoners we should release. F***ing nailed it. So, part 1 of his answer about this whole Jan 6 thing is, well, take a look, which is Trump speak for, we will never look at this again. But if that doesn't satisfy you, he has another reason.
Okay, well, we'll take a look at everything. But I can say this, murderers today are not even charged. You have murderers that aren't charged all over. You take a look at what's gone on in Philadelphia, take a look at what's gone on in LA, where people murder people and they don't get charged.
See? Some murderers aren't in jail, therefore nobody should be in jail. Okay? Also, think big picture here. If he lets these violent criminals go, there's a chance they'll kill the other violent criminals, and then they'll just cancel each other out. And to be fair to Trump, he has been campaigning on releasing the Jan 6 prisoners for years now. Everyone just assumed he didn't mean the violent ones, which would mean going through all the cases one by one, but that's not really Trump's style.
New reporting from Axios this morning details the private back and forth amongst President Trump's team over how many January 6th rioters to pardon.
The case-by-case review was onerous. Trump staffers wondered whom to pardon and who might slip through the cracks. Time was running out heading into Inauguration Day. As Trump's team wrestled with the issue, Trump just said, "F it, release them all."
I have never related to Trump more, all right? This PDF is 400 pages? Okay, it, all crime is legal. And look, you can't expect someone to go through all these cases one by one. I mean, the FBI did, and the prosecutors did, and the judges did, and the juries, and the paralegals, and the person who types on that weird little typewriter no one else knows how to use. But Trump is busy, okay? It's much easier to just click, select all, delete. So in the very first 7 hours of the Trump administration, we already have our first big controversy, which of course leads to the classic ritual of a Trump presidency. He does something crazy, then Republicans get asked about it, and they're like, "Oh, what? I didn't see it."
Do you agree with President Trump's decision to pardon these violent people?
If they were truly violent, no, but do I know that they were? I don't know that.
Is January 6th pardons?
Well, I've said what I said before, and that is we're not looking backward.
I haven't seen the details, but I think a lot of those pardons were definitely well deserved.
But what about those who assaulted police officers and then were pardoned by the president?
I haven't seen it. I haven't gone into the detail.
We're talking about people that were beating officers with fire hydrants, with metal batons. Is that acceptable to you?
No.
Those people were pardoned.
No, that's not acceptable, but I didn't see it. So.
What do you mean?
It's on video.
I didn't see it.
No spoilers. Tommy Tuberville didn't watch Jan 6 yet, okay? He'll get to it, but there's just so much to watch these days. You know, he's still got 9/11 and Benghazi on his DVR. I mean, you were a senator on Jan 6. Like, what do you mean you didn't see the insurrection? You lived it. This is like a Titanic survivor saying, "I haven't seen the movie. Don't tell me what happens." So, to sum up day one of Trump's presidency, church is bad, beating cops is good. So I guess he's a Democrat now. For more on the Republican reaction, we turn to Troy Iwata, everybody. Troy. All these Republicans are pretending they haven't seen footage of January 6th. I mean, shouldn't they be embarrassed?
Ronnie, I know sad and ignorant people like yourself would think Republicans are being cowardly, but they actually have medical conditions that literally make it impossible for them to see the January 6th footage. And unlike you, I'm not an ableist
What do you mean ableist? Dude, Ron Johnson just said he didn't see the details.
He can't see the details, Ronnie. Okay, Ron Johnson has a rare disease. You know, face blindness, he has that, but specifically for insurrections. You know? When he sees a cop getting beaten with a flagpole, his brain interprets that as a rainbow or a baby deer learning to walk. It might seem cute, but it's actually incredibly painful.
Okay, I've never heard of that. But what about the rest of them? Does Senator Tuberville also have this face blindness?
Okay, watch your tone. Okay. And no, Tommy Tuberville actually has that disease from Memento. Do you remember that movie? He doesn't. But he forgets about January 6th every 3 minutes. He's a survivor, and it's inspiring.
Oh. Okay, so he's not just dumb.
Well, if he didn't have Memento disease, then yeah, he would absolutely be the dumbest senator in history. But he does have it, so he isn't. I'm doing a walk for the cure next week. What are you doing to give back, Ronnie?
I have a metal straw to read that I'll remember to use someday. I guess. But anyway, Troy, come on. They can't all have medical issues with seeing Jan 6 footage.
Oh, they do. Okay, Lauren Boebert was hypnotized at a child's birthday party and just never fully recovered. Rick Scott, he couldn't see the footage because he's actually half horse, so he always has those blinders on. And Tim Burchett couldn't see it because he got kicked in the head by Rick Scott because he walked behind him too quickly and it spooked him. And, and John Thunes' eyes don't work because he once saw a pretty lady walk by and they went boing, 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 and they never went back into his head. Yeah. Do you think that's funny, Ronnie?
I guess I need to be more sensitive to Republicans going forward.
Yeah, you should. Because there's a lot of things coming down the pipeline the next 4 years that they're not going to be able to see or hear or remember or legislate against or understand or consider.
I guess I should be also more respectful of people who can't watch Jan 6 footage the way you and I have.
Oh, I haven't seen the January 6th footage.
Well, do you also have one of those diseases?
No, it just sounded so depressing. I don't need that in my life.
Okay. Try one, everybody.